From melting cars to completely glitched objects around the map, here are 25 different ways you can break GTA. The convenience store untextured. You're probably all familiar with these gas stations. They're just little shops that you can buy snacks from, or more realistically rob. But if you do walk in like a normal civilian and come up to the counter, you'll get a notification to shop. However, the clerk requires direct eye contact, so if you do move away or turn around, that notification disappears unless you're in first person. Because for some weird reason, if you come up to the counter and then slowly back away, the shop button will still be there. In fact, you can walk out of the store and even very, very far away from the store, all while having the option to shop, which if you press, it just takes you to a super unrendered version of the store. Trevor can have Franklin's phone. Inside of story mode, each character has their own individual phone, but if you start up the P. Diddy mission, there's a point in there where Franklin is chasing down a car for a while, and that car eventually ends up crashing. Once this happens, you're told to run up to the car, and while doing that, the game automatically whips out your phone and calls Trevor to tell him about it. But yeah, that's not what we want to happen. Instead, while running up to that car, pull out your phone before the game makes you, which at first won't really make much of a difference. You'll still call Trevor just like normal, but once the cutscene starts, you'll notice that the game starts to break a little bit, and you still have full access to your phone. And since this cutscene is just switching us to Trevor, once you load in, you'll be playing as Trevor with Franklin's phone. You have all of his settings and his contacts. You can even call Franklin, but he's probably not going to answer. Anybody can play tennis. Out of all the sports GTA gives us, I would say tennis sucks the most, but I'm not going to lie, there is one way to make it interesting. If you come to the courts and start a match against an NPC, you could either play it out or just quit. Either way, once it ends, you can pick your favorite weapon and brutally eliminate your opponent. Then just click the play tennis button and they'll come back like nothing ever happened. This yacht doesn't exist. Inside of story mode, there's a bunch of times where Michael visits his psychiatrist, and you may not have noticed, but there's always a yacht in the background. However, if you use mods and actually come in here, yes, that yacht is still there until you use more mods and go outside where it is completely gone. Meaning those windows, yeah, they're fake. I did think maybe the yacht was like painted on them, but if you look from the side, you don't see it. And a little bonus fact with this office is every time Michael leaves, he goes through this specific door. If you actually use mods to remove the door, though, it leads to absolutely nowhere. The train doesn't need an operator. So you all know by now it's impossible to make the train stop. It doesn't matter who you sacrifice, this thing is gonna keep moving. And the train being impossible to stop is taken to a completely different level once you realize you can climb on top of it, pull out a Molotov, and gently throw it near the driver, where he will jump out, but the train will continue to choo-choo on. Objects can have zero gravity. You've probably seen clips before of vehicles bugging out like this, but if you come to the airport, you can find these little luggage carriers, which, if you move into some open area and pull out some sticky bombs and in a very safe way place a couple sort of lot of explosives on it, you can blow it up, which will create a cool explosion and for some reason make this thing have approximately zero sense of gravity whatsoever. You can dive into a coma. This one's so stupid, but I'm sure you're all familiar. If you come to the pier, you can illegally dive into the ocean. And I know there's more spots around the map you can do something similar, but specifically at the pier, you can find this set of stairs where you could be normal and run down the stairs, hop over the railing and dive into the water, or you could run down just half the stairs and then dive straight into a doctor, unfortunately telling you you're paralyzed. Forklifts are not a toy, aka just another stupid way to die. Once again, if you come to the airport, you can occasionally find yourself a forklift. If you do, hop on inside and locate one of these ramp-looking things and gently insert yourself. If done correctly, your forklift should start violently shaking while your health slowly goes down. And if you leave this here while you go do whatever you do in a day, eventually your character won't be able to take it anymore and tragically pass away. The passenger door doesn't work. I'm sure when you purchase a car, you're used to having a driver and a passenger door. That way, if something happens and your car gets stuck, you still have a way to enter it. That is, unless you're at this location. For some unknown reason, if you're anywhere near this house, your character is just completely unable to enter vehicles through the passenger door. They have to walk around. It doesn't matter if you're right up against the door or the car's stuck. In fact, probably the weirdest part is you have to actually be like quite a bit away from the house and the entire property before your doors remember how to door. Cars can be duplicated. If you've played GTA Online literally ever, you've came across a player that has a full garage of the exact same car that they can sell to Los Santos Customs every couple hours and make way too much money. Unfortunately, though, what I'm about to show you is in story mode. Otherwise, Rockstar would delete my channel. But in story mode, if you get yourself any sort of vehicle and make your way on over to Franklin's garage, where you will go inside, exit your car, and once you're about halfway out, switch to a different character, wait to load in, then switch back. And this time, once you load back, you will just have your car duplicated. And if you're feeling diabolical, yes, you can use this to break the game. Your phone is a weapon of mass destruction. So you probably already know aiming like a pistol at a cop will result in somebody dying. But that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is if you start up the deep inside mission and go up to a cop and be like, oh wait, my phone gave me a notification. Let me just pull that out and check it real quick. Yeah, no, you can't do that in this mission. They will literally start shooting at you and even kill you over it. I mean, this game makes no sense, bro. Cars can melt. When it comes to vehicles in GTA, there's obviously a lot of glitches, some of which are still coming up. But if you come to this location, I think it has to be the weirdest by far, because once you get here with an elegy, that's important, you can wedge it in between these guardrails, where right away you'll probably notice a little bit of damage. But then if you back out and go in again, then again, and again, and again, eventually your car will start violently shaking and literally melting. I mean, if you sit here long enough, your car won't even resemble a car anymore. Luckily, Los Santos Customs can fix that right up for like $4. Supercars can be driven by NPCs. If you walk around Los Santos, you'll probably notice boring old cars that nobody should be driving. So if you shell out some money on a nice car, you can come to Michael's house and park it right under this little roof thing, then switch on over to Michael, start up a thing of yoga, then immediately quit the job and switch on back over to whatever character you were before. You will then load back, still in the car, just this time on the road. So now, if you drive back on over to Michael's house, your car still should be there with some goofy NPC trying to drive it. Unfortunately, he will not be keeping it. This vending machine actually needs help. So if you come to this hangar, you can go inside and find 2 vending machines that you can use, and they work absolutely perfectly fine, unless you're in the legal trouble mission. During this mission, you will run past these vending machines, but the second you attempt to use one, it's an instant mission fail, which, alright, I mean, fair enough. Maybe Rockstar's like,
no, you can't be using vending machines during missions.
But the weird part is the reason you fail is because Molly escaped. So, alright, easy fix. Just replay the mission, and this time actually follow Molly at the beginning, because, well, unfortunately, she doesn't end up surviving too long. And then when she's deceased, you can finally walk back to the vending machine and still get a mission fail for her escaping. NPCs make no sense. Alright, so I've done a lot of shorts before about how, like, this guy lets us rob him and then 5 minutes later welcomes us back, or armed security guards that forget they're armed, NPCs that drive around in circles. Point is that there's a lot of dumb NPCs, but if you come to this skate park, you can occasionally find an NPC sitting on the half pipe. And unlike all his friends that run away when my guns come out, he doesn't seem to mind. I can shoot next to him, throw bombs by him, threaten him in some pretty crazy ways, and he's completely unaffected. Cops are afraid of this building. This building in particular. But, yeah, it's no surprise cops are pretty dull. I mean, they run into me, yet I end up with a wanted level. But the cops' true intelligence is shown when you decide to delete one of their brains and come to this location, where you can run inside this building and go up the stairs, and the cops are just unable to follow you. They'll still shoot at you, but there's like a invisible line that they cannot cross. This sign is smaller than you think. So around the GTA map, there's signs facing the wrong way, signs clipped through fences, I mean a lot of brokenness. But if you come to this location, there's a sign which might be the stupidest. And that's because if I go this way, I can walk right under it, like no big deal at all. But if I try to walk under it going the other direction, for some reason my character can't get past, basically unplayable. The train actually can go away. It can't be stopped, it can just go away. If you start up the Pac-Man mission, you'll be driving a big semi-truck with a bunch of supercars, and eventually the cops will start chasing you. Once this happens, head to the nearest railroad tracks and figure out a way to get in front of the train, then switch to Franklin. Once you do this, your game will just break and the front of the train will be completely invisible. Females are scary. Can I explain this one without getting demonetized? Alright, so basically, if you go and pick up a woman of the night, she will tell you to take her somewhere private. And since most of you have probably done this 500 times, you already know like an alley or under the bridge is probably the best spot. Yeah, no. If you pull up to the airport right next to the security guard, the girl will be fine with it and let you do whatever you want while this man just kind of watches. Tron bikes can fly? GTA 5 used to be known for launch glitches where you could make vehicles or yourself even launch far away. And really not much has changed. Because if you get yourself a Tron bike and come over by the Life Invader building, you can find this guardrail thing, which if you run into the corner of it, either A, nothing will happen, or B, you get lucky and are sent to somewhere nobody's ever been. Your weapons can go underwater, and it's actually pretty simple. You just have to get yourself any sort of vehicle with the hood, then gently remove that hood. Make sure you're at this location, of course, and then this is where it can get a little bit tricky, but try to get your hood over towards this ramp that the water goes into, and once you have it about right here, go ahead and shoot it again, then quickly hop up on it, and you should start sliding into the water. If done correctly, you'll be all the way down here with a full army's worth of weapons that you can terrorize the fish with. Ladders simply don't work. Now, if you come down by the dock, there's a ladder that is extremely buggy, but I've talked about that one before, so instead, let's talk about GTA's second most glitchy ladder. Because at this location on a rooftop, there's a ladder that doesn't seem to work. You can't climb down it, you can't climb up it, it's just kind of here until you try and approach it like this, where it lets you climb down in a pretty broken way. And it goes a step further, because instead of climbing down and landing on the ground, you go out of bounds, which actually reminds me, it is way too easy to leave the GTA map. One simple search on YouTube will show you just how many wall breach glitches there are. I mean, half the buildings you look at, there's probably a way to get inside. But if you come here in particular, it's taken to a whole new level, because if you look around, you'll find this little hole that you can kind of just yeet yourself into the corner of, where at first you'll be able to get up and shoot around, or you could jump into the forever hole and fall straight under the GTA map. I don't even know how to explain this one, but I will try my best. Basically, in story mode, if you go up to any garage that you own, throw a little Molotov in front of the garage door, and then try and enter it, the game bugs out. Like, it looks like you're gonna load in, but really, you just spawn right outside the garage. Here's what's weird, though. The game treats you like you're in the garage. You can't jump, you can't use your weapons, pretty much nothing works. Until you hop in a random streetcar and try to drive, where you will get a cutscene of that car you just stole pulling out of your garage. Mod menus. I know, a pretty boring way to end it. Obviously, mod menus can break the game, whether it's changing the weather or caging players. There's a lot of ways. But the other day, I was in a session with a modder who, one, had his weapon in the casino and was making other players endlessly ragdoll. But the weirdest part was when I looked at the players in my session and I realized the modder car was over level 1 billion.
And if that is not the definition of breaking GTA, I don't know what is.